It must be an isolated situation where like one guy like dealt with some mafia guys and they didn't give him the apartment. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of About Ukraine. And in this video we're gonna talk about a big topic called buying apartments in Ukraine. Many people that come from the West, they come down to Ukraine and they want to buy an apartment. I mean, it's an exciting opportunity. It's exciting too because an apartment can cost way less, like maybe a third less than buying it, on a second-hand market. The majority of apartments in Ukraine are Soviet. Not everybody really likes to live in a Soviet apartment. They want something new. They want something cool. And basically, we're going to get to the bottom of how it works here and how it's vastly different. It's vastly different than what it is in the West. So in this video, we're going to talk about the role of the government, the role of the builder, the role of the real estate agent, and your responsibilities as a buyer when it comes to looking, evaluating, and selecting the right builder, the right apartment, everything. We're going to get to the bottom of it all, and we're going to talk about just how different it all is from the West.
The specter of these problems is like very wide, and you just can't even imagine, especially in this country, especially in Ukraine. So you have to be very attentive.
As a ballpark, so you understand, the overall percentage of builders that are just horrible, that you should stay away from, that you should never ever deal with, is in a range of like 30 to 40%. The other 30%, it's risky. They may be okay, but you just don't know. Despite all the checks that you can do, you still will not be 100% sure that you're gonna get your apartment. The other 20 to 30% of builders, they're good. They're okay, they're trustworthy. They actually are interested in finishing the building, selling it, making money, and having a happy customer because they're gonna build more buildings later on and they don't want a bad reputation.
In this country, a lot of people like buying their apartments. They just check documents. They sure that everything is fine, everything is good. But builders, then he's just gone away, and their money they can't get back because the building is not finished, and or if you buy, for example, some apartment, they have some problems with it. They have no communication to this house. You have to be very attentive to check all the documents that you have, and you have to check this builder in this country and to be sure that everything is okay. And of course, if you invest your money, when you pay this money, you have not to pay a cash. You have to pay from your own account, another account of this builder. So you will have a proof that you just paid, on this apartment. If you will have some problems, you can go to court and to have some proof that you paid for this apartment. Also, what it's important to tell about the documents, if for example you have some agreement, or addition to this, you have to check all the addresses that you have this building in the right address, in the right place, with all the names of the streets, with all the numbers, because if it's not indicated in your agreement, then it's something suspicious. But there is some moment here too, and some nuances, and you can have some problem with it too. It's not of course it's important to check, but for example, in the future, if you will got some scammer, or something, they can just change their address, and you go to your building with this address, and they will tell you it's not this address or it's not this building. So before you buy something, you have to check all of these nuances, and all of these details and all of the documents.
So what documents should you really check? What documents should you check before you even go to the sales office or even start talking to the builder that you're interested in? Well, the number one thing you should check is the general plan of the building.
Project planning and project detail and how it has to be when they will build it.
Are they building what they're saying they're going to build, There's absolutely no reason for them to follow the plan. The plan is like a marketing document. It's not like a legal document, and you can say the same thing about the contract. It's like a marketing document. Like you cannot assume anything, and an apartment has many variables, right? Like there's millions of things that you can expect the apartment to have, and you go by the general plan, and they're not going to build it. They're not going to build it. Second thing is a permission from KMDA, which is the government administration, the Kyiv city administration, right? The permission. If the permission is not given, if it's illegally given, if it's like a fake permission or whatever, the city can like recall it later on. They can revoke pretty much the permission. Another thing is the zoning. The zoning is basically like, let's say if the apartment calls for like an 18-story tower, but the zoning says in this area you can only build like a 16-story tower. That means you're not going to see that 18-story ever. If your apartment is on that floor, good luck, right?
Yeah, you have to check in your agreement. You have to check like owner, yes, and address, exactly where it's located, address, numbers.
Another thing is you have to check if the builder has any relation to the owner. If the owner and the builder are the same person, it's great. But what if it's a different person? It's a different legal entity. It's a different company.
If it's, for example, a builder, not owner of this building, then you have to check exactly owner, yes.
So gas, electricity, plumbing, all of that.
You can buy like not finished building and it's like without connections, without anything, and owner just go away somewhere.
Well, behind me is a very beautiful looking building that is abandoned. And Ukraine is full of these, especially Kyiv is full of these buildings. And one of the reasons is that people get tricked, the builder flees, the builder takes the money and doesn't finish the building. And why does that even happen? And how can people even get into this situation, right? The main reason is that people sign bogus contracts, or contracts that are not 100% scrupulously inspected, read, and understood by these people. So one of the ways the builder can like escape any responsibility is by making a contract with a middleman. Like there can be a middleman, a company that is not the same as a builder, essentially, right? It's a different company, and now you have a contract with a middleman, and the builder is not even in the picture anymore. So as you can see, this creates a lot of problems, right? Like the middleman can demand something else, more money, less money, give you like a different apartment. It's endless, right? And there's no mechanism to protect you. The government's not going to protect you. The only thing that's going to protect you is by reading really carefully the contract documents and getting a lawyer involved to check everything for you if you don't want to check it yourself. Like I said, we mentioned all these ways to check. There's lots of resources online. We're going to link them down below. We're going to show them. But in the end, you're going to have to make sure that you understand this contract and understand that everything is in writing, every little detail about your apartment. So let's say you're a foreigner coming into Ukraine and you want to buy an apartment here, a brand new one. What are the things that are going to surprise you? Well, there's 4 things that are going to really surprise you if you're coming in from the US, from Canada, from the UK, from like even Poland, you're coming down here. Number one thing that's really going to surprise you is that there's no model homes. There's no model apartments that you can visit. You can like kind of feel out, touch, kind of like explore. There's some samples, you're going to have, but there's really no model homes anywhere. It's not really a thing that is done here in Ukraine. The number 2 thing that you're really gonna shock you essentially is that there's no bank involvement when you're dealing with apartments. Well, in the US and Canada, whatever, right? Your agreement is gonna be with a bank, right? The bank is the one that stands behind this deal. The way it works is that when you put a deposit on the building, the bank takes that deposit and it disburses that deposit to the builder as it sees fit. Like for example, during each stage of the construction, they don't get any money up front, right? The bank makes money off that because they give out the mortgage to the buyer. It's great for the buyer. Governments regulate banks, pretty strictly. Chances are, if something happens, the bank is going to be on the hook. Not you, not the builder. Essentially, what you want to have. The third one, equally as important, is no government accountability. And the government is not accountable to you, to the builder, to anyone really. And it's a big problem. However, things have changed a little bit in 2011. I believe there was a law that the government of Ukraine passed that sort of allowed people that bought that unlucky apartment where the builder fled the country, which, by the way, the builder can do very easily. There's no mechanism to stop him from taking your money, not finishing the building, and then saying, oh, the money's finished, there's a recession in the economy, whatever, I don't have enough money, I didn't sell enough units, whatever. It could be any excuse. And the government finally allowed people to sort of finish it with their own money. So basically, you bought an apartment, you invested like $30,000-$40,000. Now you have to finish it out of your own pocket. Imagine that. Everybody in the apartment building that paid that money have to pitch in even more money, maybe another $50,000. But at least that option is available. Or you can go to court and sit through that court hearings in absentia of your builder. And I don't know, nobody knows how long that will take. Nobody knows the outcome of that. The number 4 thing is a real estate agent. The real estate agent has a different role here in Ukraine. They're not really accountable to you either. They're not accountable to anyone. They're just there to take a cut, to take a commission by doing some legal paperwork for you. In countries like the US, real estate agents are licensed. They have a responsibility. They deal with the builder. They actually have to make sure for the customer, for the client, that everything is in order. Otherwise, they're going to be on the hook, right? And that's these 4 things that are going to surprise you. And it may even discourage you from coming in here and actually investing in a building that's about to be built. So against all of our advice, you've decided to go in Ukraine and invest in a new construction, in some new apartment. You've checked all the risk. You've
not give a cash to the owner because you don't know the owner. Or you have to check a owner, but not to give cash. Check all the documents. What is indicated in your agreement. To check the owner of this building.
See if you can work with a bank, but I don't think that's going to be possible. I don't think you're going to work with a bank, because I've read that in Ukraine, the bank will not even finance a new construction apartment. They will not give you a mortgage because they want the apartment to be finished. Like, for example, if you're buying an apartment that's finished, first of all, you're not going to have this problem that we're talking about in this video anyway, right? But the bank will loan you the money. You have to be ready to go to court for like 2-3 years. You're going to be ready to give up that amount of your life and the stress and the time and all that.
And you have to spend more money for lawyers.
When I first got here, I heard stories from my mom's friend. She's like, people invest money in new buildings and they don't get that building. And to me, that was a crazy thought. I was like, no way. There's something not right. It must be an isolated situation where one guy dealt with some mafia guys, whatever, right? And then they didn't give him the apartment. Came to Ukraine and I saw all these construction sites, construction cranes, and I was thinking, wow, Ukraine is developing fast. There's so much construction going on. But that's because I was thinking with my Canadian head. Because in Canada, I know that a building can be built in 1 year or 2 years maximum. It's in the builder's interest to finish this. He has to finish the building to get the money for the apartments. That's how the system works. And here, this is not how it works. Yeah. So I hope this video was very helpful to you guys. And
thank you for watching.
Things you come to about Ukraine. And
see you next time. Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.